1 week to go before the New York mayoral primary in New York City, longshot candidate and city comptroller Brad Lander was handcuffed and taken into custody by ICE after locking arms with a defendant on his way out of immigration court today. The Department of Homeland Security says he was arrested for assaulting law enforcement and impeding a federal officer. And with early voting underway, Lander trails frontrunner and former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, as well as political newcomer Zohran Mamdani in recent polls. Mamdani, a 33-year-old state rep and Democratic socialist, took a hit this week when the New York Times editorial board called his agenda, quote, uniquely unsuited to the city's challenges, basically endorsing anybody else. But his campaign got a shot in the arm today with the endorsement of Bernie Sanders. NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki joins us now from the big board with why this race may not actually be over after Tuesday's primary. Steve, I think it's got something to do with ranked choice voting and complicated ballots. Walk us through it.
Yeah, and some very unusual laws in New York when it comes to elections. But, yeah, you would think overwhelmingly Democratic city, Democratic primary next week. Whoever wins that, you might as well just call that person his honor or her honor, right? Well, not necessarily because, well, you mentioned it with Mamdani. He's one of the two frontrunners in the polling so far. We'll see if that arrest today of Brad Lander does anything with his poll numbers, if anybody else makes some noise. But all of the attention really lately has been on these two, Cuomo, Mamdani. Now, Mamdani, for the reasons you just mentioned, the reasons that kept the New York Times, for instance, from endorsing him in this primary coming up, he's got some real political baggage. Is socialism, far-left views, some inflammatory pronouncements he made. They're being featured heavily in attack ads right now. If Mamdani were to win the Democratic nomination, there might be some discontent among Democrats. And there certainly might be some vulnerability in a general election, voters who wouldn't necessarily be sold on him, even if they would ordinarily vote Democratic. On the other hand, Andrew Cuomo, who's been the frontrunner here, he resigned in that sexual harassment scandal as governor back in 2021. He has been dogged by questions about his handling of COVID, nursing homes in particular, when he was governor. There was a recent poll that found among Democrats, more than 40% in New York City say they have a negative view of Cuomo. He's got baggage. He's got political liabilities that could plausibly carry over into a general election. And that's where the strange laws in New York come into effect when it comes to these elections. It's basically this. In New York, third parties can nominate candidates who are already major party nominees. So let's play this out. A couple potential scenarios here. So let's say next week, okay, these are the potential general election ballot lines, parties that these candidates could have. Let's say that Andrew Cuomo were to lose the Democratic primary to Zohran Mamdani. So Zohran Mamdani would then be the Democratic candidate. Cuomo couldn't run as the Democratic candidate. In most states, he'd be eliminated. The race would be over. But Cuomo is also going to be the nominee of a party he created called the Fight and Deliver Party. So even if he loses the primary and Mamdani is the Democratic candidate, Cuomo can still run in November as the Fight and Deliver candidate. For that matter, if Cuomo were to win the primary and Mamdani were to lose it, there's a party called the Working Families Party that's already said Democrats should vote for Mamdani in this primary that may well endorse him if he wants to run as their candidate. So he could take another shot at it in the general election. There's going to be a Republican nominee, Curtis Sliwa, the current mayor, Eric Adams. He's not running in the Democratic primary, but he's created his own parties. He's running in the general election. There's an independent, too. So really, if this is close, would Mamdani turn around and try again in the general election? If they want to, Garrett, they've both got vehicles to do so.
I'm dizzy now, Steve. Thank you so much for that, and I look forward to the creation of your new party. I think we could sneak you on the ballot still. It feels like there's time.
No interest.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave it there, Steve.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.